Hi everyone, thanks for tuning in to this video on the Zenwara channel today. So this video is going to talk about the concept of karma yoga. We're going to go a little bit deeper into karma yoga. So this concept has been explained in previous videos on this channel. But when we're looking at karma yoga, we're looking, at creating basically a change within ourselves, okay, that is a change where we give back to others, okay? And the best way to approach karma yoga, okay, and I've discussed this previously also, is to basically try to solve problems at the root, okay? So we're not trying to solve the effects of the problem, we're trying to solve the core reason for the problem. Okay, so as a practice of yoga, of meditation, of Zen Wara, okay, as you practice, okay, you also start thinking about how can you solve one core, like one root problem, right? And then within society, okay, one root problem as you identify it. Try to make it one, where you save as many people, as you help as many people as possible. Okay, but it might be more localized, and it's good to have some, there are so many. It's good to have one that you feel called to, cause that you feel called to, a good one, that helps people. Okay, so and then that's also a concept you can also see as charity. Okay, charity, which is a central concept in many of the faiths, traditions, cultures, for many people around the world. Okay, that exist. Okay, charity is very important. It's in a lot of our texts too, that the importance of charity, and there's reasons for that too. But one of the reasons is that, with that understanding that there are spiritual achievements that you can get in your life. Basically, you go through a list and you basically live out in the physical the experience of the achievement that you go through, and this is when you're in more advanced levels of yoga. Okay, this happens at the time of enlightenment and all this. Okay, so basically, when you rediscover who you are, if you will, for example, if you happen to be, for example, in some case, potentially an angel, okay, and if you're an angel, you'll have that experience, and basically that moment likely where you're going through a gate coming in here and all that stuff. Okay, so there's a lot of stuff to experience. Karma yoga. Getting back to karma yoga. So karma yoga, some people, they say, well, it's difficult, trying to think about something that would help me and others, and basically trying to solve a problem at the root. Okay, and then it's not also just solve the problem. Sometimes it's make something better too. Okay, so there's that too, and that's the improvements to society and that side of life as well too. Okay, so it's not only problems that we work on, we also work on things that are not necessarily problems but could be better. Okay, and basically, once again, whatever you feel called to, based on your experience of your life, they'll be called to different things, different people. Everybody has many, many different paths for their future that have been given to us by God, and we basically embark on different paths of our future, which are pre-existent in a way, but haven't happened yet. Okay, so they exist, but haven't happened yet. And then we basically, with our decisions, take different paths in life. Do I go there? Do I go there? And basically, all our potential developments for our future have been created for us and gifted to us by God for us to have a wonderful and an amazing experience. And one of the parts of that experience is spiritual development, spiritual achievements. So we grow as a spiritual person. You actually grow at the different lokas. You would see it better than in the human body here. But for example, energy lokas, and as you grow as a spiritual being, you actually grow there, okay? And you'll actually have the energy download, which is the divine energy that gives life to your existence and all that. Okay, and as you grow, you basically can get certain achievements. You can become a Buddha, you can become an enlightened master, you can become a saint, you can enlightened saint, you can become a Shri. You can discover who you were, you can remember your past lifetimes. All these different things. It's very, 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 very deep into how deep you can go. And basically, what's very interesting is you can actually get experiential knowledge of all this. Okay, so you actually experience this. So think basically with the mind, you're having the experience like you're in body, but you're not in this loka anymore. So you're basically experiencing from a perspective another loka. Okay, and these are once again at more advanced levels of practice. Okay, and you can work to get to those levels, and from there have those experiences, including enlightenment, and from enlightenment, work your way towards the center of the Kala chakra. Okay, so for karma yoga, it's sometimes is difficult. What do I want to think about? What I want to develop? Okay, and invest my time in. Okay, and here I'm going to make it very simple. Okay, almost like a cheat, a little bit, but you have to be sincere about it. Okay, so if you're having trouble, one of the core problems, okay, is that, and it's not necessarily a problem depending who you talk to, but I think it's something that can be improved on, okay, at least, and I would say a problem also, is that you don't have enough enlightened people here, okay? Not enough people are enlightened. So, what do we want to do? We would want more people to be enlightened, okay? So, right away, what's a problem of that is that you have to basically have people that teach and permit enlightenment to spread in a way faster than it would without them. Okay? So, what you can do, and if you're willing to make this commitment, okay, and this is a commitment that's a big commitment, okay, but it's also a commitment, are you willing to make the commitment to achieve in the first place? Okay, if you were willing to make a lesser commitment. And then the commitment here is that as part of your karma yoga, because you don't necessarily have to have just one cause, okay, one core thing that you're working on, one thing that you're trying to figure how to fix at the root, okay, in society. What about this one? I will help make that there will be more enlightened people. So when I become enlightened, okay, and you can tell yourself this, okay, then I will do what I can to help other people become enlightened. And I will dedicate a portion of my life. It doesn't have to be 100%. How deep is your commitment? No, I'm just kidding there. It doesn't have to be 100% of your time. But, if you say, I'm going to commit a part of my life to teaching others how to become enlightened, or to basically share my enlightenment with others so they at least know about this, know the truth about this, and can pursue it on their own. And you can only help so many people, I guess, directly. But with now social media and all these things, vehicles like YouTube, okay, you can basically share all this very easily, okay? And it's important, I think, to the more people start talking about it, not hiding these things necessarily, and just expressing it for what it is, okay, and saying no. And then people say, no, that doesn't make sense. You say, no, actually, go look up Zenora. This is a thing. I had the same experience, and all this or similar experience, and go look up all these other religions and faiths of the world, okay? So, people who had experiences, talk to angels, okay, or all these things. So, so does that make sense? Right? As a way to give back to yourself and others, okay? When you achieve enlightenment, after enlightenment, you will come back down and you will teach. Right? Or do what you can to share the message of enlightenment, the truth of enlightenment, with as many people as you can. And then you teach them to make the same commitment. Okay? And as this commitment grows, okay, we have basically a fountain effect where the drops, okay? And basically an effect of growth, like a flower. We grow like a lotus. We grow. And basically, as more and more people become enlightened and teach everybody else that they know about this, right? Or at least share the information. And if they have followers, they have family, all this stuff, they talk about this stuff and say, hey, this happened to me. There's no stigma attached to this. There's no reason for a stigma. These are some of the most holy concepts of our humanity. Okay, the truth, one of the truths of our purpose in our life. Okay, so there's no stigma to becoming enlightened. Okay, and enlightenment is a thing, as they say. Okay, so um, maybe that's something you want to consider. Maybe that's a commitment you'd like to make, right? Um, Promise it to creation, if you will, or to whoever you want to promise it to, the creators or creation, to yourself. If I become enlightened, I will share that enlightenment with everyone and teach and all this. And this goes back to the concept that I've had, talked about in another video once again, the concept that people who reach certain levels of practice spiritually could create channels, their own personal channels that basically follows their development of their spiritual practice and their experiences on their spiritual practice. Okay, basically with a focus on enlightenment. Okay, and then basically, you link a little bit all these channels, and then all of a sudden you have almost like an entertainment information network. Okay, and often we have a distinction between, okay, this is entertainment, this is information. Okay, that's truth or not truthful, but not necessarily entertainment. What I want to see is like a combination of the truth and entertainment, and that's why the spiritual journey is so interesting, because it has manifestations of experience you have in the physical. So through meditation, and whether it be learning different postures and all these different things, it's actually quite interesting, and the experiences you'll have can be quite diverse when you're following the right type of practice that leads to the next succession of achievements basically on your journey. Okay, so you basically hit milestones. Okay, so for example, we have the term Bhagwan. Okay, so Bhagwan, okay, is a term for God. Okay, and it's a term that you can find associated with certain forms of God. Okay, but Bhagwan has, when you're Bhagwan, you have basically a manifestation of your understanding that you are Bhagwan that takes place. And that's one element of who you are. Okay, so the Bhagwan. So what is Bhagwan? Well, if you break it down, okay, and I've explained how everything can be analyzed through French and English, because those were two of the languages that were created by the military scientist who created the computer, in which Siva, or that being that has many, many different names that we generally refer to as God, okay, who created us in the Kala Chakra in which we exist, okay, spoke those two languages. Okay, and that's why those two languages and the sounds of his voice that he used that he put into a microphone in the computer is basically why we find phonetically that kind of pattern, where we can analyze words. Okay, which are, one way of putting it this way, guys, ladies and gentlemen, okay, or anyone who's listening, is that God created all languages, right, or all possibility for them. So it makes sense that there's a link between them. Okay, and especially if we have a message where we're supposed to find out about God, find out about truth and creation and all that, then we're supposed to find out about the link. Okay, so for example, a quick example, Shiva or Siva. Okay, Siva, that's a name for God of Hinduism, for example. Okay, or some people that adhere to that religion. Okay, but basically, if you break it in French, Siva means if go. Okay, what is if go? Okay, it's basically the operating functionality of a computer, zeros and ones. If you have this condition, go there. If you have this one, go there, right? Or don't go. Okay, and how does that reflect in society? Just to kind of show you a little bit how this works. For example, in our streets, you have lights, green lights, red lights. Stop, go. If goes. If that goes, then you go. Okay, and that's also the same concept as karma. Okay, memory and retention. Okay, and the if go principle. So, there's a lot of things to consider. You know, for karma, let's bring it back to karma yoga, which we wanted to talk about. Make that commitment if that's something that you're willing to make that commitment about. And then, what does that mean? It means that when you become enlightened, if you go you might come back. You're going to come back down in body, and you're going to teach, and you're going to spread it. And as that happens, enlightenment could start to spread. Okay, we could have a phenomenon where if you get enough momentum and enough documented people talking about this and linking to other people specifically, we link to these other people. Okay, we confirm that these experiences are similar and all that. Okay, even whether it be format of just adding other people on channels, people can go start looking at these experiences. Okay, and as you're exposed to this, maybe they want to get enlightened too, so they can start practicing as well. And one of the methods to become enlightened that we've talked about is jnana yoga, or yoga of knowledge. Okay, and researching all the traditions, faith, cultures of the world, all these things, history, all these things, researching philosophy, all these things, researching God in all their forms, in all forms or no form. For people who believe that God doesn't have a form, which is also true in a way. Everything is true in a way. Okay, researching stories, researching so many things. Okay, and then basically through that research, as you do also the processes at an energy level, okay, you're going to basically get to advance your practice. Okay, and basically that's when you start getting into a place where you can get into what you call the zone or samadhi. Okay, and then once you're in samadhi, okay, and you're at advanced levels of samadhi, okay, you can get to a point where you can hold that level for an extended period of time. And as you're in that level, you're conscious of what you need to immediately do right after to further your spiritual practice at the most rapid possible pace that could ever be done. Okay, which is basically directly from achievement to achievement without break. Okay, or you can go slower, but you understand that when you're getting there, when you're at the accomplishment, you push through, you do it. That's how you achieve it, and then that brings you, if you're in the right samadhi, in the right state, to the next one right away, and you don't stop. You do it, you get through it, and bang, 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 bang. And that's the same concept for enlightenment. When you're going to experience enlightenment, you let yourself experience every experience, and then you move on to the next one. Next, 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 next. You are conscious that this experience is a limited time experience, and you need to absolutely go through the whole thing in one shot without stopping, without staggering. Okay? And that's part of growth. You don't want interrupted growth. You want kind of steady. Okay? So, karma yoga, I hope you make this commitment. You know, it's a big one in the sense that it's tough to start, but if it gains enough momentum, it could be really interesting. We could have basically a network where the truth is shared, the truth of people's experiences, which are supposed to be entertaining, and everybody has their own unique stories, by the way, that they can achieve and talk about. Okay, and we take the stigma away from it. We make it fun and educational, the truth, and we can also add the funny parts, the funny stories, special practices that people put with videos and stuff like that, that they've developed, or really intense moments. And if we're lucky, we get some pictures of people when they're getting filming themselves at the moment they get enlightened, and then they say, that was the moment right there when I came out of it, and you see their reaction when they get enlightened and all these things. Right? So we can basically have a lot of fun with that. Okay, and the truth is shared. Okay, for sure you're gonna say, well, some people, they might be making up stories. Okay, well, that's fine. Stories to themselves. Okay, but no, I think that's why having that recognition system could be very interesting, as you make almost like a network connecting different channels in a sense. And what is that? That's basically recommending other channels, I guess, on your channel, right? So one thing to to consider, okay, as enlightenment grows and spreads, okay, we're not saying everybody's going to become enlightened overnight. Okay, but as enlightenment grows, for every enlightened person that new enlightened person in creation, everything changes. Okay, it's really wonderful. It's really great. Okay, everything changes, but nothing changes. Okay, everything definitely changes for that person. That's for sure. Because as you become enlightened, okay, you get basically um, awoken, okay, with knowledge, okay, awoken to knowledge to the system, basically. And you also have your symbol that becomes enlightened and drops into the vibrationary field of enlightenment where you now exist and grow, okay? This is interesting stuff. So I invite you to become enlightened. I invite you to listen to more Zenwara videos if you're interested in learning more about the truth of creation, the truth who created us, the purpose of our lives, information, detailed information about different lokas, whether it be system lokas or Kalachakra lokas, that you experience during enlightenment or other experiences. Even if you want to know about heaven and hell, information from someone who's experienced these different lokas, these different realms of existence. Okay, so thank you for listening.